Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Well, let's kickstart taking all of your stock-related queries. But before we do that, the number that you can write to us is going to be flashing on the top of your screens as well as on your screens. Do remember to mention your buy price for the stocks that you're already invested in. And for the stocks that you wish to invest in, do mention the time horizon that you then have in mind. But with that, let's kickstart taking all of your stock-related queries. Let's get a sectoral check going first. We do have Rupak Dey, Senior Technical Analyst at LKP Securities joining us. And we do have Kunal Bothra joining us yet again. Hi there, Kunal, as well as Rupak. Good morning. Let's kickstart taking the first sectoral check in terms of what the auto space is doing, because Kunal, it looks quite interesting. It's been holding on to a lot of resilience so far this week as well. And we've seen quite the resilient moves coming in when it comes to this entire pack. What do you make of this then?
Yeah, it generally looks quite positive for the auto stocks, and I think with the large cap names and the one underperforming, the likes of Tata Motors, Bajaj Auto, etc. I think these were the stocks which were beaten down significantly over the last 3-4 months. So I think it's good to see that these stocks are seeing a bounce back. Now there should be a distinctive behavior when we see a bounce back as well as a start of a trend. Now when there is a start of a trend for stocks or for sectors, then we generally expect that there are few stocks which generally stand to be an outperformer or leaders from the entire pack, and then rest of the pack they generally tend to follow or chug along. And if it's a trending move, if it's a bounce back move, then we generally expect that many of the stocks behave in a very similar kind of a percentage up move, and there is short covering across the play for many of these auto names. So I think maybe over the next 1 or 2 days, once we see follow through up move for these auto stocks, we could probably distinctively categorize that what's the behavior playing out. But as of now, it's good to see that one of the weakest leg of the markets, that's I think now is trying to support the markets from here on. And if we expect follow through up move for many of these names, then we can expect some very strong bounce backs coming into the beaten down stocks from the sector.
Well, absolutely. That's the update coming in as far as that particular space is concerned. Tell you what, Rupak, do you have anything to add to that then?
I would like to speak on Nifty Pharma. As I can see, there's a consolidation breakout. There was some. I wasn't looking at the auto actually, so I was looking at the pharmaceutical stocks. Pharmaceutical stocks are doing really well lately. So recently also they have given a consolidation breakout. A lot of pharmaceutical stocks have given a consolidation breakout. They're moving to some of the stocks moving to their new lifetime highs. So I think the sentiment is likely to continue in the short to medium term in the pharmaceutical stocks.
Rupak, no doubt you did speak about the pharma sector, and there are a lot of queries actually that have already come in for the pharma space in particular. Let me come to you, Kunal, and take that first one. We have a viewer who's already bought Gland Pharma, is sitting with mild bit of profits, and the viewer's name is Deepak. So he wants to know what should he actually do with Gland Pharma now. The fact that he is actually sitting in a mild bit of profit in this counter, and this one has also seen a very rough patch in between as well, right? You have now a news flow that was also something that is actually impacting the stock price.
Yeah, and I think the stock has been into a thick of news flow for quite some time. I remember, I think, a point when the stock was almost at 4,000 plus levels. Towards a point, there was a point where the stock was sub 1,000 levels. So at least it's trying to find its median back again around the 1,800 levels. Now, if you're sitting on good short-term profits, then I would probably suggest that maybe closer to 1820, 1850 range is where you can look to book out profits over here for Gland Pharma. The only concern for the stock is that it's unable to find the kind of mojo back again in terms of volume breakout, price breakout for the stock price. So I think that could be a major reason why it might take the stock a lot more time to try and get back into a breakout mode. So I think if your time frame is short term, you're sitting on good profits, I would suggest to book out.
All right, book out is the take coming in on Gland Pharma. Rupak, let me come to you and ask you about HDFC Bank. Do you think now is the right levels to go ahead and buy this particular counter? We have a viewer, Dinesh, who's asking about HDFC Bank for a fresh buy. This counter, if you see, I think it's one of the most talked about banking name, and one of the most talked about banking name in a sense that everyone has been actually expecting a recovery to come about, and sustainable recovery. But what's your take? That's not the way how it's transpired. We thought very soon it will hit the 2,000 rupees per share mark. That also has not happened.
So I think HDFC Bank is trading within a no trading zone. I think the range is 1810 and 1770. So if somebody finds the stock is when it is trading above 1810, he may consider buying the stock with a stop loss of 1770. So right now it is not trading beyond that. So I would like to wait for the stock to move beyond 1810. Above 1810, I would buy the stock for a target of 2100, keeping a very small stop loss below 1770.
That's a stop loss as well coming in for HDFC Bank right there. But tell you what, Kunal, I'm going to come to you with the next one that is coming to us from Satish, who's writing to us from Chennai. In fact, let's shift focus from the banking pack now to IT, because he's asking us about Wipro. 250 shares is what he's holding on, and he wants to know if he can exit. Now, he's not mentioned his buy price, but what do you make of this one then?
So I'm very bullish on Wipro, and I think the stock is trying to find its mojo back again. The last 5 or 6 months, we've seen some consistency building into the stock price. Adjusted to the special situation price, the stock has moved from 250 odd levels thereabouts to 300 plus mark, where it's trading right now. So which means that slowly and steadily, the stock is trying to play a catch up with respect to most of the other large cap peers from the IT pack. I would suggest that if you have a time frame of even 3 months to 6 months plus, then I think Wipro could be something which can deliver substantial returns from current levels. So the longer the time frame you have for Wipro, the higher the return potential could be, is what my expectation is.
Alright, so that's the take coming in as far as Wipro is concerned. Then I'm going to come to you, Rupak, with the next one, because we do also have Shaurya, who's writing to us from Gurugram, wants to know about Reliance Industries. Now he wants to know the outlook that you have for the next 6 months. He wants to know if he can buy in at these levels then.
Yeah, obviously you can buy the stock. Stock has corrected significantly from their previous high, and the stock has formed the RSI of the stock has formed a bullish divergence on the daily chart. So I think the stock might be ready for a recovery towards 1300, 1320 in the very short term. So one can initiate a long position at the current level, keeping a stop loss below the recent low of 1290.
Then
Sorry,
on.
I mean,
All right, a point taken, Rupak. On that note, actually, we slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your queries, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue taking your queries. Today is the Techie Special. We have Kunal Bothra as well as Rupak Dey to answer all of your stock-related queries. And this next query that I have, Kunal, is coming in from Shankar. He's writing to us from Delhi. He's a short-term investor, and he said, Rupak, that he did hear your view on the pharma space, but he wants a recommendation of at least 2 to 3 pharma stocks that he can consider investing for a period of about 6 months to 1 year. Since you spoke about pharma sector, I'll come to you only, Rupak, to get your views on stock-specific bets that one can take.
So first stock would be Lupin. The stock has given a consolidation breakout, and it is sustaining above the important moving average on the daily chart. So I think the short-term view would be very much positive, and the stock is likely to move towards 2400, and stop loss can be placed below 2150. Second stock would be Dr. Reddy's. The stock has given a pennant pattern breakout on the daily chart. The stock is likely to move up towards 1700. Very short-term target would be 1600, and support would be at 1300. So one can initiate a long position, keeping a stop loss below 1300 for a target of 1600 and 1700. Third stock would be Biocon. The stock is currently moving up after finding support at the 200 days moving average. So I think the stock is likely to move towards the higher level. On the higher end, target is placed at 380. One can initiate a long position, keeping a stop loss below 337 for a target of 380.
That's a take coming in as far as those pharma stocks are concerned. But Kunal, I'm going to come to you with the next one, because we do have an interesting query coming in from Yoga Priya. She does have some fresh capital that she wishes to deploy. So 50,000 rupees is what she's looking at. For good returns in the next 6 months, which are the stocks that you'd suggest?
Yeah, so it's a tough one, especially in this kind of a market scenario. But I would probably look out for stocks which are showing signs of relative strength as well as outperformance, and it makes a lot of sense to go with the leader stocks in terms of price breakouts. So, for example, one of them is Jubilant Food. After the recent up move, the stock has confirmed a breakout at that 700 mark, which I believe is a very strong resistance breakout for Jubilant Food. You might look out for targets with a 6-month time span in the range of 8 to 10%, which should be closer to 760, 770 levels broadly for Jubilant Food. That's one name which you can look out for. Bajaj Finance is something which I believe is starting to look very attractive on the charts. And with the last week or I think the week prior to that of very strong price up move, I think Bajaj Finance is something which I would believe over the next 3 to 6 months could provide a substantial 10 to 15% return over the very near term. If you're looking at maybe pharma name, I would look out for Lupin in terms of a potential breakout about 2200 levels for a potential target of 2500 mark. And from the high beta stock, there's one more name which looks extremely attractive, and that's Oberoi Realty, a stock which I think over the last few days has been a lot more consistent in terms of the real estate pack. Today the stock is down 0.5% to 1%, but I believe that the stock holds potential for a 2500 plus target in that kind of a time span.
Right. In fact, I've got a very interesting viewer query right now, Kunal, and this one is from Nikat, and he wants to know whether he's asking whether he can look to invest in a penny stock. Just a quick note of caution for all of our viewers and all of them who are actually investing into the markets, or they are new investors or the ones that have actually entered the market in the COVID era, to say any word of caution when you talk about penny stock, and also to even consider investing in such stocks.
Absolutely. I think I generally refrain from advising on the penny stocks, and I think you should also follow a very similar kind of a stance where you should not look to invest into many in these penny stocks, because the point is not that you were looking at buying quantity. You always have to look out for buying quality, and that's what would probably reward you, even if you're a short term trader, you're a long term investor. So irrespective of your time frame, it always makes sense to stick to quality, because in these tough phases of the markets being very volatile. So there was a phase from 2020 to 2024 broadly for the last 4-5 years, where there was ample rewards which was gained for traders, investors, whether you invest in quality stocks or penny stocks. But now could probably start a phase where there could be a lot of challenge. If you're looking at buying any random kind of stocks, or especially the penny stocks, because from here on my belief is that only quality stocks and portfolios which have quality stocks, they are the ones which should stand to outperform. So I think in that aspect I would suggest to refrain from buying any of these penny stocks.
Rupak, do you also concur with Kunal's view when you talk about investing in these penny counters?
Obviously, I also refrain from recommending stocks which are considered penny stocks, because it's the quality which matters rather than the quantity.
Well, absolutely. So that's the take coming in. As far as penny stocks are concerned, Kunal as well as Rupak are telling us to value quality over quantity.
Absolutely, and that's exactly how you will actually make good returns for you for the longer term when you invest in the stock market. So make sure that you do your homework clearly as well when you talk about investing in such risky names. But on that note, we slip into a break. When we come back, continue taking your queries. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Well, let's continue taking all of your stock-related queries. And the next one that we have, Rupak, is coming in from Lakshmi, who's writing to us from Hyderabad. Wants to know if it's a good time to buy SBI cards. What do you think?
So I would not recommend a buy at this level. I think the more downside is waiting for the stock, and on the lower end, support is there at 675. Once the support is reached, the stock is likely to move down towards 650, 640 kind of levels. So it's not a level where one should start buying. Rather, one should wait for the stock to correct more towards 650 kind of level. One can initiate a buying position around 650, keeping a stop loss around stop loss below 635. And on recovery, the stock might move towards 700.
Right. So that's the view coming in on SBI Card. Let me take this next query that I have is coming in from Arvind. And he has about 1,000 shares of Ujjivan Small Finance Bank at an average price of 41 rupees per share. What's the short-term and long-term aspect of this one? And his long-term, he's saying 3 to 5 years is what he can hold on to, Kunal. But on the charts, how is the Ujjivan Small Finance looking to you?
Yeah, I think you should hold on to the stock. Now, we've seen the last 4 quarters of underperformance for Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, and the stock has corrected quite sharply from levels of 45 plus to 30, 35. That's the range for the stock in the recent past. There is also a lot of divergence for the stock from its long-term moving averages, and we've seen that when a stock generally underperforms for 3-4 quarters on a trot, we expect the stock to get back into a revival phase, and whenever that revival happens, my belief is that the stock should come back to your cost price at least, which is 40 plus levels. So you can either look to average it out maybe closer to 30-31 levels for Ujjivan Small Finance, and then hold on to it if you're a long-term investor.
And the next one that we have, Rupak, is coming in from Sanil, writing to us from Mumbai. Wants to know about Vodafone Idea because he's holding on to 1.1 lakh shares. Buy price is 10 rupees thereabout. What do you think about this one?
I think the consolidation might continue in the near to short term. The stock has a resistance at 7.80. Once the stock moves beyond 7.80, then it is likely to move towards a higher level. But till the time it is not moving beyond that, beyond 7.8, I think the consolidation might continue. So if somebody, if he is holding the stock, he can place a stop loss below 7.3. Below 7.3, he should reduce some of his position.
All right, so that's the take coming in on the stock, given the fact that we were actually seeing a good steady up move for the benchmark indices. Right now, we are hovering around those levels, trying to hold on to those levels. But yes, we are below that 23,900 mark when you talk about Nifty. You have Nifty Bank that was moving in tandem with the benchmark indices. And let's see what Nifty Bank is doing, tad bit off the day's highest point as we speak. Let's take a look at some of the names then. What is Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank doing in at this point in time? Where are these counters? You remember, they have a heavy weight on the index, that is Nifty Bank as well as in the Nifty as well. So that is also one reason how the markets are shaping up in trade today. But Kunal, what's your take coming in, especially for the broader markets going ahead?
Yeah, my sense is that with confidence coming back, and if over the next couple of days we see a follow-through up move for large cap names, then eventually these mid caps and small caps should also make a comeback for themselves. So today could be an off day where you're seeing the markets recovering. There could be a spate of short covering across many of the stocks because the beaten down sectors in the stocks like autos, FMCG, etc., they are the ones which are seeing a good pickup of price momentum. If that trickles into a long built up in terms of delivery volumes, then I would believe that we could expect the second round of up move to be led more by the mid caps and small caps.
Well, absolutely. And let's continue taking all of your stock-related queries. As difficult as it is to look away from Dr. Singh's legacy that we've just talked about a short while from now, let's also take a look at some of the other queries that we're getting at this point, because we do have Somi Day who's asking us about Zomato. Kunal, what do you make of this one? Because the buy price is 276 rupees. She's not mentioned how many shares she's holding on to, but what do you make of this one regardless?
See, I'm very bullish on Zomato from a long-term play, and I think what you should ideally be doing is that trying to average it out maybe closer to 250 to 55 thereabouts for the stock. So in case if the stock dips down to sub 250 levels, I would probably believe that that could be a very good time for you to average it out. Now, there could be a point where the stock may consolidate over here because this is almost like the 5th or the 6th straight quarter of strong price up move for Zomato. The stock has done reasonably well, moving up from 50 levels thereabouts towards 300 plus mark. So we are bound to get into a patch of consolidation, but I think 250 levels and thereabout could be a very good opportunity where you can look to invest further and average it out. My belief is that over the next 1 to 2 years, there could be a strong possibility of the stock breaking past into new highs for itself.
Right, so that's the take coming in on Zomato. Let me take this next query on Sterlite Tech. Rajinder Tyagi has written to us, wants to know about Sterlite Tech. He has the levels at around 218 rupees, holding on to this one for the last 4 years or so. What's your take right now, Rupak, with this particular counter, given the fact that he is in a considerable loss? So should he stay put with it or go ahead and book loss at this point in time? And if book losses, where should he park or reinvest some money?
So I think the stock has more space, more room for correction. I think 105 might be the next level where the stock might hit in the short term. So he should, I think he should place a stop loss at 115. Once the stock falls below 115, he can exit the stock or at least reduce his position. And on the higher end, once the stock moves beyond 118 on a closing basis, then there might be some recovery. So till the time it is not happening, I think he should hold with a stop loss of 115.
Penciling in a recovery on that one then, but Kunal, I'm going to come right back to you because we do have Sampath writing to us from Chennai. Wants to actually ask about Bandhan Bank. 200 shares is what Sampath is holding on to with an average price of 192 rupees that he bought just about 2 years ago. What do you make of this one then?
Well, a disappointing chart. The stock has underperformed in both the cycles when the markets were moving up or when the banking index was hitting new highs about the 55,000 mark. And even at a point when the Bank Nifty has struggled and gone to a corrective phase, so the stock has been an underperformer. My sense is that I think either you can make a switch, towards quality names. You can look at ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, from the larger cap names, or you can look at PSU banking stocks from the mid cap arena. Or else, if you're looking to book profits or exit the stock, then I think maybe wait out for some bit of bounce for Bandhan Bank, because we are going to a phase where there is a short covering rally which could be likely for many of the banking names. So, but I think making that switch could be a better strategy. If not now, then maybe on some bit of bounce for Bandhan Bank.
Alright, so that's a take coming in on Bandhan Bank. In fact, let me talk about more banking names. We have Balakrishnan from Chennai. He wants to know about TN Mercantile Bank as well as in IDBI Bank. Does it make sense to go ahead and buy these counters afresh right now, Rupak?
For IDBI Bank, I would say that he should wait for the stock to move beyond 87, 78. Above 78, the stock will be good for a rally towards 86. And in that case, the stop loss would be 76. So currently, it's not a buy level. Above 78, it will be a buy.
Alright, and that's a take coming in as far as those two banking counters are concerned. Tell you what, Kunal, I'm going to come right back to you because we do have Balan writing to us about a couple of stocks. In fact, he's asking about Timken India. He's actually planning to shift into Titan as well as Reliance because he's still making losses at this point when it comes to Timken India. Do you think that's a good call?
I didn't get the question. Can you repeat once again?
So he is invested in Timken India and he wants to deploy those funds into Reliance as well as Titan because at this point he's making a loss. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think that could be a very good strategy because I think both Reliance as well as Titan, both of these names, they have corrected significantly over the last few months, and you generally don't expect these large cap stocks to get into such kind of a prolonged phase of correction as well as a sharp phase of underperformance. So I believe that buying or becoming a bit contrarian over here in terms of approach could be a good strategy.
Alright, so that's the strategy coming in on deploying the funds into either Titan or Reliance. This one is coming from Sri, he's writing to us from Bangalore. Kunal, I'm coming to you because he specifically asked for your view on Mazagon Dock about 100 shares, which he's purchased at the levels of about 4,700 rupees per share. He wants to know after today's stock split, what sort of a near-term target do you have for this one?
See, I'm very bullish on the entire PSU, defense, shipbuilding name, etc. as a pack. And my belief is that the correction which has happened for these stocks in the last 6 months or second half of 2024, I think somehow that correction seems to have played out quite aptly. I would believe Mazagon Dock, and I think if you can probably add on to the other names, GRSE, Cochin Shipyard, etc. I think these stocks should perform potentially in the second half of 2025. So my belief is that from a long-term play, and that could be at least 1 year plus kind of a time frame, you could probably expect that these stocks should come back to their previous lifetime high levels. For Mazagon Dock, I think that level was just about that 2,900, 930 mark on an adjusted price. So I would expect those levels to be breached over the next 1 to 1.5 years.
Alright, and those are the levels that you should pencil in, at least when it comes to Mazagon Dock. But the next one that we have is coming in for HUL as well as Nestle, because we do have Saju who's writing to us, Rupak, about these two counters from Kochi, and he wants to know if it is a good time to invest fresh into HUL and Nestle. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's a where one can initiate long position or start accumulating the stock. I think the stock is making its base for a recovery towards 2,500 in the short term. So it's a level to go long with a stop loss of 2250 for a target of 2500 in the short term for HUL.
All right, on that note, we actually wind down on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Rupa, for joining us on the show for resolving all of our stock-related queries. And with that, viewers, we come to this week's edition, end of this week's edition of Buy Now, Sell Now as well. So it's a goodbye from Shyansi, myself, our producer Somashri as well, and our director Ravinder. Thank you so much for watching.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.